For this tutorial, we're going to learn quickly how to set up a new Parse server instance. With Parse.com shutting down, we still want to be able to use this open source server that they've created and allowed us to use. So I've come to the GitHub page for Parse server. And I scroll down and you can see there's these several deploy buttons. I could use AWS, Heroku, Azure, or GCP. Now we're going to use Heroku. Before we click on this, we actually want to make it so that we have a Heroku account. So the easiest is go to heroku.com and set up an account. Or just click on the deploy to Heroku button. It will pop up and show you this app example that we're creating. We're going to put in an app name. We'll just call it Parse Test Tutorial. It says it's available, and we scroll down, we can see we set an app ID, so we'll call it Test Tutorial. We'll leave the master key as master key because I'm just going to show you this and then I'm actually going to delete the instance. So we click deploy for free. This takes a minute, but after the environment's configured, the app's created, they build the app, and then it runs, we'll be able to see very quickly that we can actually run our app and be able to get the Parse server and the information that we need from it. Now, while this is building, I've already built an app that we can test really quickly to see how this all works. So I'm not going to go through all of the configuration here of what we need to configure, but you can see I've created a nice URL session. I've got this xxx.herokuapp.com. The xxx needs to be replaced there and in the Parse application ID. I've set that as the header value, and then I'm creating a object, this player name with the value foobar, and you can see I'm using the classes part of the Parse REST API and creating an object called game. I'm posting first, and we'll enter all that information as soon as our Heroku instance is set up. So just while we were gone, it's all set up. And we could click view, and that would just show us the web page at herokuapp.com. But if we just click manage app, we can see that it's running. We've got a MongoLab or an MLab MongoDB set up. But if we click settings and refill config arguments, then we move this page over a little bit. You can see our app ID is test tutorial, and that's what we're going to put in there. So our name is Parse tutorial, and that's the XXX, the first one we've got to put in. So that is this part right here that we're going to replace. Let's not take out the HTTPS. So we've got that in there now. Now we need that app ID, which we have right there. Come back and replace our app ID. And now if I build and run this test app, which I've built, bring up my simulator, you can see as I put a debug point there that my response is that an object has been created. Well, now that we've got an object created, let's actually make sure that we create it with the information that we want. Right now we just created a blank object. So let's create a second object. This one we get back that the object was created, but we passed up the information. So if we come back here and go to our resources and click on the MLab, it'll bring us over into our MLab. We can click on it and see what was created. We can see that this one, the second one, has a player name of foobar. So it's created just like we thought it was. It gives us a little bit of a data browser. We go back to our Xcode. Now we're going to actually change this to a GET. We're going to remove the HTTP body and do a build and run again. Now we've got a response string that comes back that gives us the first object. So it gives us first the results, and there's the first object that doesn't have the player name. And the second one that you can see right there does. So this was just a really simple tutorial on how to quickly set up a Parse server instance using the deploy to Heroku and be able to actually deploy it, open up our MLab database, and be able to see that we can connect to that data. Now there's a lot more information about Parse and their RESTful API or the various SDKs that are still open sourced within that Parse application. And if you go to parse.com, it has a lot more information for you right now.